Hey everyone, welcome back to a new episode. So now that we touched base on human design last time, I wanted to dive in deeper, a little more into feminine and masculine energy and what it means to be fully aligned with your feminine side. And I have a wonderful guest here today, my dear friend Katharina from Happy Detox Cat on Instagram, who is a phenomenal natural healer, helping you to heal on all levels, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And she's not only a healer, but also a medium and detox expert, and knows a lot about feminine energy and masculine energies and how they can strongly affect our life.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello, Caroline. Thank you so much.
so glad to have you here.
Thank you so much.
For those who don't know, we are good friends and we talk a lot, and we just said we should do this session as we would just have a FaceTime call as we usually have it. So it's very relaxed and
so you kind of like get a chance to listen to a telephone call, a private telephone call between us, you know?
Exactly.
We'll feel like that, that's for sure.
Yeah, and so also, you really teach me a lot about feminine energy and all of that. And so I'm like really glad that people can learn that as well and get a bit more information.
Yes, I'm like super excited because I really do feel that once you understand the basics and like the core principles on how that works, it can make your life so much easier. And a lot of pains that many women struggle with nowadays, like PMS or not getting their period or don't having like sexual attraction with their partner, can actually be solved when you know how to be in your feminine energy.
Yeah, I totally agree. We just talked about that because one of you girls asked if I had any PMS syndromes. And I do actually a lot. Like the week before getting my period, I just feel I have lots of water retention. I get very moody and I feel like my cravings change a lot. My boobs get really sore. I just like feel it for like a full week, I would say, before getting my period, which it seems like it's not that comfortable. I would say.
Yeah, of course not. Of course not. Yeah, and we will definitely go deep into that, you know, like why this is, like from an energetic perspective. But maybe we just like first start by explaining what exactly divine feminine and divine masculine energy is, because most people on this planet, they don't really know that they have both energies inside of them. So, you know, like the concept of yin and yang, the day and night. We live in a world of duality, right? We have the sun and the moon, and our body is also made in a way that we have like a masculine side, which is very often the right side of the body, and a feminine side, which is the left side of the body. And these energies, they have some characteristics. For example, the right side, the masculine side, is the side that makes things happen. Okay, so it is the energy that is structuring, that is planning, that is giving, that is executing, and that is just doing instead of being. And the feminine side is soft, it's passive, it's receptive, it's flow, it's creativity, it is being instead of doing. Okay, so whenever you tend to have an imbalance in these both energies, and we will dive deeper on how you can get these imbalances while you grow up and from your conditioning and from society and from your parents, you literally become out of balance. And many women nowadays, they become overly masculine, so they really focus on achieving, performing, getting to their goals, do instead of simply be and just literally let life flow through them and be soft and passive. And this is because the society has taught us from early on, okay, when you're being receptive and soft, you're weak. And it's we don't associate like softness and passiveness and receptiveness with something positive. right? We do think
Totally.
like, okay, you only succeeded once you achieved your goal, you performed, and you kind of like competed and proved that you're the best, you know? So we're literally like, all the women nowadays are very much forced into a very masculine energy. And they automatically feel bad about themselves when they have a day where they are simply flowing and letting emotions run their day and just fully feeling what they're feeling, you know? So they don't allow themselves to feel and to receive and just to flow through life. Instead, they're trying to control and decide, no, I'm not going to do this, you know, and stay longer in bed and just feel what I want to do. I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning, then I'm going to meditate, then I'm going to do the exercise, then I have a meeting from 8 till 10, you know, it's like bam, bam, bam. And
That's
I'm pretty sure, that's your day, huh?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. And I very much used to be like that as well. Like for me, if I did not finish off my to-do list at the end of the day, I felt bad about myself. And that's like a very, very wounded feminine, in a way that you don't even allow yourself to be a little bit receptive or passive or soft during the day. So what do you think happens when you're overly masculine? Although you're incarnated as a woman, you're overly masculine the whole day during your whole cycle. That means that you suppress your feminine side very strongly, like super strongly. You don't allow yourself to be feminine. And this is where the strong PMS symptoms come from, because your feminine body has like its own energy. It has its own intelligence, and it understands, okay, something is going wrong here, because apparently I'm a woman, but I'm not allowed to live that energy. So you repress. And what happens when you repress something? It always backfires. So the stronger you repress, the bigger the backfiring effect is. And that means that like before your period starts, when you're literally being forced to lay in bed and have cramps and be soft, right? And be just vulnerable, all these repressed emotions during your whole month of that cycle come up to the surface. So that means the stronger your PMS, ask yourself, like, do I maybe not allow my feminine side to be played out during the day or during the whole month? You know?
Wow, that's so powerful. I didn't realize it. I think a lot of us maybe don't even realize that we are suppressing it.
Exactly.
Even though,
Because it's the negative belief system that has been planted from society into our being, that all the feminine qualities are no good. In like this, the environment, the earth that we're living on right now is highly competitive, and you only kind of like be the fruits of your work when you are masculine, right? It's like investment banker is seen as more successful, for example, than a poet or an artist. So poets, artists, they really are in their feminine energy. They just let it flow, right? They just create, but that's worth nothing in our society. So that's why, like, especially women nowadays, they are literally becoming man from an energetic side. And that has many, many side effects, you know, not only on your period, but obviously as well on your body and in your relationships. Because just
what are those on your body, for example?
On the body, for example, like when you are in a feminine body, that means you are ruled by the moon. And that means, since there is a full moon and then we have descending moon and ascending moon, you know, so however the moon is, your body also fluctuates in weight. And since we are 80% water and the moon rules the water, and feminine energy is literally water, we have lots of emotions, you know, that are represented by the element water. You are being literally ruled by the moon. And whatever, like when the moon is full, we tend to accumulate more water weight. It's a little bit like ebb and flow.
That's so interesting. Yeah.
So when you understand that, When you understand that, you realize like, wow, I've been being so hard on myself and thinking, oh, I'm getting fat, like I have so much water retention, whereas it's simply the full moon, and because the moon rules your feminine body, you accumulate just more water weight. But it will
So
go.
is that then like a good sign? That means you are fully in your feminine side when you change with the moon, or not
It's
necessarily?
it's a natural thing to change, because if you think about it, like if the feminine is water and the masculine is fire, okay,
Mm-hmm.
like I will explain more on that when we speak about sexuality and polarity between those two. But like when you think about water can have many different ways, right? It can be super strong and forceful, it can be super soft, it can freeze to ice, it can boil, right? Like there's many different states where water can be, right? Like there are many different variations. So when you think of that, like female being water, we need to accept that we're changing all the time, that one day we might be cold as ice and say like, fuck you world, you know, like super repellent, you know, just like being ice, no way to like get to us. Another day we can be like super passionate and boiling, you know. So I think it's actually a very good sign when you flow with your own waters and with the moon. So
Yeah.
even your period, like when your period is with the moon cycle, then that is actually a good sign. And this is also how all the like the tribal cultures, you know, and like all the indigenous people, the women, their period was seen as a sacred time. And very often the female cycles, they kind of like coordinate. When you live with several women together, they tend, after some time, they tend to have the period all at the same time, so they can support each other. And while they had the period, very often on the full moon, they were sitting in like tents, you know, or went out into nature, connected to the divine energy, feminine energy, and collected important and channeled important information for the whole tribe. Because in actuality, your period is one of the most potent and highly energetic times in your cycle. It's the time when you're most intuitive and psychic and can get very important information for your life. But what are we being taught? Like, period is bad. When you have your period, you cannot exercise. When you have your period, you cannot do this and this and this. You have cramps, you know? So instead of celebrating it,
Yeah, I
we're
totally
being
agree.
taught that it's something bad and it's something
Mm-hmm.
to be ashamed of.
But
So
it should
there's
be something we appreciate, right? Something you said.
exactly,
I agree. Yeah.
yeah,
I
and
agree
something
now
that we
even more
celebrate.
after. Exactly. Yeah.
You know, it's something
Yeah.
to celebrate. And just to give you an example, like I've been the same. Like we have a similar, I would say, like energy structure and blueprint, also the way we were brought up. And also another thing that I want to add here, very often when you have a repressed feminine side and you are overly in your masculine energies, where is this coming from? Very often it is the case when a woman had a father that was like not very present during her childhood. And with present, I mean not only physically present, but especially emotionally present. Like you did not felt held or secure or safe with your dad, or he did not give you the feeling that you're good enough, that you're worth it, that you are loved by him. So very often women who had a father who was like constantly giving her the feeling of not being good enough, this leads to women becoming overly masculine, and then they automatically try to protect themselves, you know, like that vulnerable side within them in the relationship, from not being open to the masculine side. And this again like spreads out sexually, because when you have a masculine man but you yourself have way too much masculine energy, you know how it is, like with a magnet, when you have plus and minus, it is drawn towards each other. When you have plus and plus, it repels each other. So you're
Yeah.
literally repelling your partner by being overly masculine, you know.
And
And
you
this is where
think
all
it's
the
exactly.
sexual problems are coming from.
Yeah, because we think it's a good sign, right, to be strong and independent, and on one side it is, but on the other side it's also maybe doing damage to other things in life, and we would be what you said, more aligned with everything if we would let go of that, and also
Mm-hmm.
let go of putting that stress in our body. Like
Mm-hmm.
one other girl was asking if she's also not having her period, and she thinks if it's maybe because of stress,
Mm-hmm.
and she's eating like plenty of fats and all of that, but she seemed to be stressed all the time. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that go 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 mentality that a lot
Mm-hmm.
of us, I mean including me, have
And me.
including it, is even though sometimes maybe we don't feel stressed in a way because it's positive stress, but it's still
Mhm.
stress on our body, and yeah, what not what we are originally meant to be like, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
um so yeah, maybe we can talk about that a little as well.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's so clear if you think about it, just the fact that feminine is being and masculine is doing. And just ask yourself, like, how much in, like, during your day are you just being, like, just being for yourself, just tuning inwards instead of looking outwards what you can do next. So when you're always highly stressed, that means you're automatically always focused on doing and achieving goals. Because if you're just lying in bed and being and feeling your emotions and just like connecting to your heart,
I
then you're
feel
not
I'm
stressed.
Yeah, and in those moments I feel like I am not being productive,
You
which
see?
is, yeah, which is so
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
have to, like, as soon as you realize that this is a program from society that was planted into you, it's not, you're like, every time you feel this, it literally says that you are not acting like your nature because you are a woman. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
I do.
your
Yeah.
nature is to be a woman, and you should be like a woman most of the time, you know? So obviously, whenever you have a negative feeling, it literally shows you that there are some unresolved belief systems, you know, that literally get you going, and your soul wants to look at it. Like, your feelings are very important way showers or like signals, you know?
Yeah.
So
And one thing I also realized is that in terms of food, which I'm happy, like I was able to change that already a little bit. But
mhm,
when we eat, like I used to have this like plan I would stick to of what I ate, and
mhm,
how
mhm,
much of that, not too much fat.
mhm,
Had like a plan I would stick to basically.
mhm,
So this was like my structure in a way. And
mhm,
I realized like when we stopped doing that and being just more in the flow and more in the moment, and really just I was having what we are craving and trying to listen more to our body, and also eating the food with basically an intention of what it tastes like, and that
mhm,
is like nurturing and doing
mhm,
good for us, instead of thinking about what the food does for us in terms of what we want to look like or what we want to achieve. Like
mhm,
I don't know if I explained it right, but just in that moment, like enjoying and tasting the food and
mhm,
being present, instead of thinking I eat that to look like that, or I do
mhm,
that, like
mhm,
instead of having always that reason behind eating certain foods to look
mhm,
a certain way or to achieve a certain fitness goal, and just
mhm.
focusing on the taste, moment, and the nurturing part. Like for me personally, that changed a lot. Like,
Yes, because you finally, like, you probably felt that you just, that it naturally felt good to do that, right? So it's
exactly.
kind of like you allowed yourself to become more into your feminine side. Because again, like, the masculine is always very intentional. It is structured, it follows goals, it follows plans, you know, it does everything with intention to achieve an outcome. And the feminine is literally life, it's love, it is being in the moment, it is celebrating what is. So you literally leaned into that feminine side more when it came to food, and it made you feel amazing, you know? So, and you also said, like, we talked and you talked about it on your IG account, that you are now a little bit more rounder, not as like lean. since you changed your food habits and all of that stuff. And this is obviously also an effect of that energy, because again, feminine energy is soft, and that means your body becomes more soft. You get more round, not as edgy, you know, because the masculine is edgy. So whenever you have a woman, her body is like super lean, like super ripped, like no fat, only muscles or only bones, that's actually also a sign that she's not very in her feminine. And if you ask very, very masculine men, they will be more attracted to a feminine woman than a super ripped, hardcore fitness, you know what I mean? Like masculine, hardcore performer, you know? So,
and also, sorry for, but quick
no,
thing.
all good.
I feel like also you attract different, I attract different, female friendships now than I did before. It's like, it's crazy. Like it changed, I would say completely.
Yes, because like the real feminine, she speaks her truth, okay, and she literally encourages other women to shine. When you are wounded in your feminine, okay, you always compete. This is how you know when you're like over competitive with other women.
Wow, that's so interesting. Oh my God, yeah.
Epiphany! Wow, right? It's fascinating.
No, because exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you go to
all
the
interconnected.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm still a competitive person just by nature, I would say. But I know exactly what you mean. Like girls who compete with their girlfriends in a way.
Exactly.
They wouldn't say, but they still do.
Exactly. And this is again
and then there are other
sign.
girls who want to lift you up and who thinks, you know, we rise by lifting others, which is one of my favorite sentences, and I'm always wow,
exactly.
So
and this really has a lot to do with your feminine energy. Because when you are in your feminine energy and you understand, like the feminine energy is literally the energy of the earth, and earth in itself is super abundant. Okay. When you look at nature, you have so many trees, you know, like the ocean, it's so vast. Like there's so many fish in there. There's like, life is just vast and it's abundant. So when you are in tune with that feminine energy, you understand that your worth does not decrease when there is another beautiful woman, because there's vastness of beauty all around, and you allow everyone to shine. Like a rose is not less beautiful than a sunflower. They're just different, but they can all both shine, you know? So the more you heal your relationship with your own feminine energy, the more you allow other women to like shine and support them and help them and just have a good time with them. It's like, it's a little bit about like loving them in a way that like sacred sisterhood. This is also why like this all these groups of like sacred sisterhood, divine goddess groups, blah blah, all of this is extremely rising at the moment, because more and more women, they honestly, step into the feminine.
That was a favorite part of my whole Bali experience with my retreat. Just that feeling of having like a safe community for a full week with like total strangers that become very close friends within a week, and everyone feels very safe to share their experiences, and I think a lot of girls like are never able to experience that, because still within friendships there's still oftentimes boundaries and things you don't feel safe sharing for some reason. And I think having that sisterhood connection is so powerful. That's why more and more of these like women's circles are coming up. There's one like very one of my favorite quotes actually, which kind of fits to that, which is, she silently stepped out of the race that she never wanted to be in, found her own lane, and proceeded to win. I think I love that, because it's like what you said with the competing thing. Once we stop competing and actually want everyone to succeed, we succeed so much more ourselves as well, and attract so much better.
Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly the case. And we as women, like, if you think about it, why were we competing in the first place? Maybe we had some, like, maybe we grown up with a father who always said like, oh, you can do that better, you know, we were never enough, you know. And then we are brought up in a society where we've been taught by school and all parents around us, oh, you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough. It's always this not enough. This is like literally the core wound that almost every woman on this planet is carrying. And because she feels that way, that she's not enough, she's people pleasing, she's afraid to speak her truth, what she really wants. So she's trying to manipulate her way through it somehow, you know. It's really like fascinating how all these negative belief systems that are being put on us, how they literally fire back then, you know, with like repressed and feminine energy. And until we are literally open our eyes and see what is going on and just be brutally honest to ourselves and just ask ourselves, okay, am I balanced from within? You know, am I really receiving and loving and literally feeling as much as I'm giving and executing and doing?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, what would you say are like 3 quick questions every woman should ask herself to kind of find out if she is in tune with her feminine side?
Yeah. So basically what I just said, ask yourself, you know, like, especially it's very, very good to tune into your feminine side in the morning. So as soon as you wake up, like, don't check your phone, but tune into your heart. Because when you are in your, you know, you are in your heart, in your feminine energy, when you are anchored in your heart. So you just, for example, you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is not go in your head, but go in your heart. So instead of making to-do lists, okay, what am I needing to do? You go deep into your heart and just feel whatever is there, you know? And then you just literally feel your heart in a way that you, for example, can show gratitude and think about all the things you're grateful for. And then you will feel a warm feeling in your heart, you know, or you can think about someone that you love, if it's like your partner or family or a child. And then you can literally grow that love from that person to more people, and maybe even the planet, and maybe nature, and maybe the universe, and maybe God. And whatever way you find to be grateful for, you will see that this will open your heart and increase the love vibration in your life. And then you will realize that your body also starts to change in a way that you get more relaxed, you get more quiet, your voice is like more soft, you know. It's like it shows in many ways.
I think that was the case for me, definitely. I think if I compare myself from now to let's say a year and a half ago, or even 2 years ago, yeah, I think that changed a lot. I actually had people also messaging me on Instagram saying my voice is like a bit more softer and more relaxed, more at ease with myself. And I like, yeah, what you just said, and I was like, wow. So true.
Exactly. So every time you find, as a woman, every time you find yourself agitated in a way that you realize you talk to someone and you're like super harsh and I need to do this and you know, like this hardcore Nazi, bam, 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 you know, this is how you know, okay, stop, like back up, okay, like I really need to breathe and step out of my head into my heart. And as soon as you do that, your body naturally starts to like loosen and softens and relaxes, you know. And believe me, this is what all men want, you know. This is literally what men crave, because they are literally fighting the whole day during work. So whenever they come home, they want a soft, loving woman. And when they have a woman that is just like, why didn't you put up the garbage? Bam, 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 bam. You know, it's like, they're like, okay, what the fuck is going on, you know?
Okay, 2 questions. One is, what do you think in terms of exercise? So if someone, like, again, like regarding the questions women should ask themselves in order to find out if they are in their feminine side, about exercise, is it... don't you think also it makes a difference, like if you exercise because you really enjoy it, you love the feeling, you love the endorphins, and you release stress? Like for me, for example, for me, exercising really is a way to almost meditate and release stress.
Mm-hmm.
And for other people, I think sometimes it really puts a lot of stress on their body, thinking they have to stick to this plan. They have to go to the 6 a.m. class. I mean, not now, obviously, but they have to, like a day, it's like a fail day without having the exercise in.
Mm-hmm.
That's also very, very masculine, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
And it really, like, intention makes all the difference, because intention is literally like the energetic blueprint for that whole thing. And that means when your intention is coming from a loving place, it means the whole energy that you will feel during the workout and the energy that your body is exposed to during the workout and afterwards is loving. And as you know, like, love heals everything. So whatever your body is struggling with, you will get to your goal a lot faster through love instead of through execution. So you, like, even if you want to have a nicer body, you will achieve that goal a lot faster through loving your body than to, like, punishing your body.
I agree. So 100%. Also, like for me, when what I changed to get my period back, a lot of people ask me if I changed my fitness routine, and I actually did not at all. I was still working out just as much, but I didn't have that intention behind it to get more toned, to do that. I really just did it because I tried to experience a little bit with not working out that much, and then I realized I was more stressed not working out, so I was just doing it however I felt like it. But what you said, changing the intention behind, made like a huge difference for me.
Of course it does, because it changed the whole energy on how you do things, and also obviously the outcome, you know. It's very similar to cooking as well. It's like the for example, if you cook a meal for your husband or your boyfriend, he will taste it energetically if you cook it with love, you know, if you put like your love and nurturing in it, or if you just like heartlessly punch something together just to get dinner done. Right?
That's so true. Like I've seen it so many times. It really bothers me when people do that without any love behind. I don't know. I feel like cooking is such a nice way to create something and put all your energy in it. And it could also be the exact opposite in what you said, and just like like I think a lot of I mean, I'm not a mother yet, but a lot of moms, they tend to be like, when they're stressed, like I remember it from my mom, and then you're stressed and whatever, and you just you cook something, but you're really not feeling it and not into it. I mean, of course, like there's some situations where you have little children and you're just stressed, it's okay, but in general it makes like a huge difference.
Like, I can even tell a story about that, because like, you have, as a woman, you also have to see your responsibility in that, especially when you have children. Like, you can, like, in Indian ancient Indian Sanskrit, it is also said that women can either heal or poison their whole family through the food that they cook. So whenever you're like super stretched, agitated and worried, and you cook something for someone, you are literally poisoning that person on an energetic level. And this even happened to me once when I had an argument with my mom, and then she cooked something, and then I felt so sick, and I even threw up at the end of that meal because I couldn't hold it in my stomach. Like, it was energetically so poisoned. So you really have a huge responsibility as a woman, especially when you cook for your family, to put your love, because through that you can heal, you know. And you should definitely never cook and eat when you're super negative. Like, don't do that. Don't poison yourself.
Yeah, I agree. Especially also like we talked about mindful eating in the last episode a little bit, and that also makes like a huge difference when you eat when you're stressed or when you're anxious or in a hurry or all of that. I mean, that's like a whole different topic, but I agree totally. Don't you also think when you go out, eat or take food out, all of that, I mean, whoever prepared that food put their energy in the food, and I mean, I don't know if that's like crazy thinking, but I also think that makes a huge difference. Like, who prepared it, who made it, is it like a stressful environment? And I don't know if that makes sense, but I always felt like every time I went to Bali, it's only 2 or 3 times, but the food in Bali is made with so much love and so much kindness and appreciation for detail, that no matter what you eat, even if you eat like a little unhealthier than you would usually eat, it always made me feel amazing. It's
Yes.
hard to explain, but I'm just bringing it up because for those who don't know, you lived in Bali for quite a while. So
And
yeah,
we
I
met
mean
in
now,
Bali the first time.
which seems crazy because I feel like I know you for 20 years.
Yeah, we have like a very deep soul connection. That's true. But
Yeah,
we met in Bali literally the first time, and
yeah,
Bali, like it like when you understand the energetics behind it, it's no surprise at all, because Bali is literally like one of the most feminine places on this planet. Like the nature is so rich, people are so relaxed, they're so in tune with their spirituality. You know, they give offerings 5 times per day, they go to ceremony almost every day, you know, so they have a very strong spiritual connection. And Bali as well is the world purification center of this planet energetically, so that's why many souls are attracted to come to Bali and heal themselves and purify, you know.
yeah,
And this is again in connection with the feminine energy, because the feminine energy intuitively heals. Like when you're sick, what do? Like what gets you healthy? You just lie in bed, do nothing, and sleep, right? You like, there's no more passive state than sleeping. It's like the most passive state you can be in, but this is
yeah.
what heals you the quickest way. So the
I
divine
remember, yeah, like right before Christmas, I, for some reason, I usually never get sick, but I was in Germany and I got like really like fever and all of that. And I was watching one of your videos and I was fasting for, and I haven't been fasting for a long time. I mean, I do intermittent fasting, but not
yeah.
really like fully water fasting. So I did it for a full day. It was just lying in bed, mostly sleeping, and it was almost like gone the next day.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
crazy. Yeah.
Exactly. It's not crazy. It's logical when you know the energetics behind it. You know,
Yeah.
so that's why like I'm really trying to like explain it in easy words, you know, because it could be so easy. Like most of the suffering that women have nowadays are actually um just an over masculine energy that they play out. And once
And
they know how to
mhm.
balance that, you know, like many negative side effects that they experience will be less and less and go away eventually, you know, and they will get more into balance.
And what do you think? This was my second question. I forgot to ask. If a man is like very feminine in a way, like
Yeah,
not having like goals all the time, not
yeah,
being like hard working all the time, being a bit more in the moment, being a bit more flowing. What you
yeah,
said, maybe like poets,
yeah.
all like that kind. Like, is that our are they basically out of balance as well, or is that like
I get
yeah,
what you want to ask.
yeah,
What you need to understand is that the females are literally the gatekeeper in a way that they decide like who do you let enter and who not, right? Like if you think, for example, about sex, like every man will try to get sex as quickly as they can, right? And the female says, okay, until here and not more, right? So the
yeah,
female is always the gatekeeper. And that means in actuality, the female also decides on how, and not only decides, but also heavily influences how the man acts. And that means when you as a female are overly masculine, your man has no other choice than to step into his feminine. Because
oh wow, okay,
if he would stay in his masculine, you would be arguing, competing all the time. Who's first? Who's the leader? It's literally like having two alphas competing all the time. So in order
yeah,
to keep harmony, whenever you're overly masculine as a woman, in order to keep harmony in the relationship, the guy becomes more passive. And he also more passive in a way that if he feels like she does not want to get led by me because I'm the man, you know, like I should be leading, but she does not want to be led by me, then many men, they really kind of like get into an attitude of, okay, then do it yourself, and they get more passive. And this is also where this whole trend of like bros before hoes is coming from, you know, because men, they all they want to do is just like support and lead in a loving way. But many women, because they're like so wounded and they're in her own feminine, want to do it themselves, you know. And then very often when they succeed, they feel lonely and sad nonetheless, you know, because they feel like, okay, something does not feel right here. And that's because
Yeah.
she's not in her nature.
And not giving the love they might want to, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's why
Also,
it's so important. Yeah.
yeah, there was one question about why I'm not having more sex or sex with my partner,
Yeah.
and we talked about that already also. So I would, maybe you can share. But I
Yeah,
mean that's what you just said already. Like if you like the magnet, right? If you have plus and plus,
exactly.
you're not attracting each other. So for everyone
Exactly.
listening who feels like you resonate with what we said, I think it would be good for you to tune into, maybe write a little journal, um, write down the things we mentioned, and really ask yourself if you are in tune with your feminine side and what you could do to get more into it, right?
Exactly, exactly. And like, I feel that I would say most women that I know have this situation where, like, in the beginning, maybe everything is good, but then after a few years, the sexual attraction is fading. It's just simply you don't have like this spark, this ignition, this like, oh, I want to have that person, right? There's just no kind of like no attraction towards each other.
Yeah.
And
Which
that
we
is,
have been taught, I feel like, which we have been taught by society, that is the norm, right?
yeah, yeah,
That.
of course this comes into play as well. But what like happens very often is that, as I said before, like the masculine is giving, it's plus energy, the feminine is receiving, it's minus energy. Okay, so when you as a woman are overly focused on giving, 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 and you kind of like have an issue receiving, and you will always have an issue receiving when you have a wounded feminine, when you feel you need to shield your heart and your vulnerability by an overly masculine presence. So these are very often the women that cannot really kind of like let their partner in a way that like not only sexually let them in, but let them in especially in their heart, because they are afraid to be hurt. So they shield
Mhm.
themselves. And then they focus on, oh, I just need to give and people please. And, you know, it's kind of like they have a kind of like a bad feeling once they receive something. This is
Yeah.
also something that, you know, like whenever you feel uncomfortable when you receive like either a compliment or just like a gift, and it gives you a weird feeling, that's also often a sign that you have like a wounded feminine side. Because
Oh
actually,
my God. I have that. I always have that.
yeah, yeah, like when you feel more comfortable giving instead of receiving,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh wow.
that's a sign, you know, because it's the nature of women to receive. And that's actually like, especially in sex, this is where men feel like most aroused during sex, when they feel the woman can fully receive them. You know, it's like they give their all to the woman during sex, and she receives him fully and gives him the love back through the heart. And this is where you have like circle, like I've been also into tantra for quite some years, and it literally works like a cycle. So like the from the genitals, the guy gives to the woman in the sacral chakra, and then when the woman has an open heart and can receive him fully, she literally pulls that love up and gives her love from the heart back to his heart. And through that you have like a circle of energy that is upgrading both partners. And then the man feels loved and cherished, and the woman feels loved and cherished, like both profit from that. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously when you as a woman have a closed heart because you're not in tune with your feminine energy, and the man is wounded in his masculine because he feels no matter what I give to my woman, she cannot receive me, then there's like blockages on both ends. And then there will be like no attraction and no sexual polarity, because they think, okay, why should I do it, because like I don't feel better afterwards, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh wow.
it's yeah, it's very deep, a deep topic. I feel we could go like one
Exactly.
hour more only on the sexual topic, you know, it's so
Yeah.
deep.
I mean, to round things up a little bit, what would you say are three things people should, especially your girls listening, should take home from this conversation, and maybe things they could do daily to bring out more the feminine side?
Hmm. So what I think is the most important thing to remember is first that you do the inner work in becoming aware of how deeply you've been programmed, like that feminine is negative, that softness is weakness, and to really make an effort to write it down, for example, journal it. Where do I not allow myself to be soft and receptive, and become aware, like bring it from the unconscious to the conscious, because only then you can change something about you. Only when you are aware, okay, now I'm being in my feminine, or now I'm being in my masculine, you can balance these energies. So becoming aware is like literally the most important thing, firstly, I would say.
Especially also in terms of food and lifestyle, I think, right?
Yes,
For
of
people
course.
struggling with it, yeah.
Of course, like you can branch this out into every area of your life, like everything, literally, right? So I would say that's like the most important thing, to just become aware of that. And this is also the issue, or like the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I feel no one knows about this. Like it's literally like when I speak about these topics, everyone is just look at me with big eyes and like, oh my God, having all these epiphanies, because we're not being taught these things.
No, this should be a subject in school.
Exactly. Of course. It's the freaking basics of life, basics of being a woman or like a man. And our parents also don't know better. So we just adapt their behavior patterns, their unconscious behavior patterns, right? So that's why like awareness, becoming aware of that is the first thing. And then consciously choosing to be in your feminine and not feeling bad about it is the second thing, I would say. So again, like start the morning with a feeling into your heart, okay? And every time you cook or prepare something, prepare it with love. Every time you exercise, do it with love. And also what helps greatly is to get into your feminine energy is to beautify yourself. So that means pampering yourself, doing masks, doing your hair, just appreciate the natural beauty that you have, or appreciate the natural beauty when you go outside, like into the woods, or see flowers, like get a bouquet. Whenever you have beauty around, it's the divine feminine energy. So you can literally so you can beautify your whole life, and through bringing more beauty into your life, you get more feminine.
I figured you say that because I definitely have that. I was like, the first things you mentioned, I was like, yeah, it could improve here and there. But the last part, I definitely have that. I love doing things like that.
Yes.
And I always see beauty in everything, actually. Yeah. That's
yeah.
Nice. You do too. Whenever I see your stories, I'm like, oh, having however you see things, like with your eyes, like it makes like a big difference. Just like some people would say it's a great day, and other people would say, it's so cozy, it's raining outside, I love it.
Yeah, and it's just like just seeing, like whenever you start seeing the beauty outside, or the more beauty you see outside, it's actually a mirror that you start seeing more beautiful inside, what's beautiful about you.
Yeah, also seeing the beauty in other people, not by how they look, but really just the beauty of their soul, like
exactly the essence.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, and it's like it's a two-way street. So it's like automatically it's like the more you appreciate it outside, the easier it gets to appreciate your inner beauty. And the more you appreciate your inner beauty, the more beauty you see outside. It's like the same process,
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
Wow, I think that was great. So
yes.
I think that was the perfect end. Thank you so much. I hope you all learned a lot. I definitely did. I love to talk about this. And so nice to have you.
Yes, thank you so much. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful to talk about these topics. It's what I'm passionate about, and it's as I said, like I could just go on forever and ever, and this literally branches out into every dimension, so
we should do a second episode.
Yeah, I would definitely love that. Yeah.
And maybe you can quickly share where people can find you also. And
yeah, so on Instagram, I'm happy then Detox, and then Kat. And then also on YouTube, I have a channel, Happy Detox Katharina. And I also do have like a free course. It's like a video series. You don't need to like sign up via email. I think you're going to just share the link, right, for the people who want to
I
have a
put
look
all
at it.
links. Exactly.
Yeah. So this is literally giving an insight of what I do work-wise, but I really try to kind of like mix up all these energetic principles in a way that people know how to heal themselves, like mentally, emotionally, and physically. Because when you have that knowledge, you can just automatically balance yourself out, and then you heal, So yeah, that's I think that's powerful, because what like my goal is just is to create leaders in a way that you learn to like be fully in your power and sovereign in a way, so yeah, it's so much fun. I love
it. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
I hope everyone enjoyed listening, and I hear you all next week.
Thank you.
All
Thank you.
right.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.